today, because Thanksgiving is in 4 days, which is really weird to record that saying that when you're recording this quite a ways before Thanksgiving. Let me just say. But today we're doing a tutorial and I'm so excited about him. He turned out so cute. Here he is. He's of course named Tom, unless you wanted to name him something else. But he's got little wings. He's a hand turkey. I will tell you that hopefully when I edit this video together it works well. There is one section that the camera moved and I didn't realize it had moved, and so I missed like almost everything. I tried to kind of record a little recap, so hopefully it works for you. I'm sorry. I discovered some things while I was doing this about how to crochet in a chain, and that was fun. So there's a lot of stuff, and I'm hoping it's not too random, about the different wings, but they're so cute. And of course, I will have chapters for you to be able to go to different parts. Remember to have a happy Thanksgiving. I have here kind of a tannish color that I'm going to be using for the body. So you're going to have your oval for your body, and then we're going to use the tan coming up here. And these, you get to decide what color do you want. And that's what I love about it, because if you watch the little kids, they'll use pink and purple and blue and green, and that's one of the fun things about a hand turkey. This is just worsted weight acrylic yarn. You know, like it could be Red Heart, Super Saver, it could be Mainstays acrylic. I think Big Twist has a worsted acrylic. It doesn't really matter. And the reality is you can make it with any yarn. So if you wanted to make it with a cotton yarn, and you used a worsted weight, you would probably use the same hook size. If you wanted to make it with a smaller yarn, you would just get a smaller turkeys, and you'd use a hook size equivalent, the equivalent for the yarn, usually a little bit smaller than what the yarn calls for. Really, truly, I don't believe that the type of yarn matters on this kind of project. So I'm just using, this is a G. I'm going to be stuffing mine, but you could make it into a little finger puppet, or you could make an applique. I didn't realize that I had such large, shadowy, look, I can do this. I can be like, do, like, it's kind of a turkey, right? Gobble, gobble, gobble. I'm going to do a magic ring. If you can't do a magic ring, chain 2 and do your single crochets all in that second chain. I actually have a circle tutorial, and you're starting this the same way you would start a circle. So if you want to go there, I did those with chains. I'm going to chain 1 to start, and then I'm going to do 6 single crochets in my circle. And you would do 6 in your second chain from the hook. And I'm just going to slip stitch in the top here. Okay. Now for my second round, I'm going to chain 1. And I'm going to do 2 single stitches in. I'm going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I'm going to do my slip stitch. This first one's always kind of weird, but after that, I usually get pretty easy. So now that I've got this is where things differ from a circle, and this is going to be more like, if you watched my pumpkin tutorial, my jack-o'-lantern tutorial, that's actually going to look very familiar to the turkey. So I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to do 2 single crochets and then 1 single crochet. in these first 2 stitches, so 2 single crochets in this first stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next. And then I'm going to switch to half double crochets. So I'm going to do 2 half double crochets in this one, and 1 half double crochet in the next. And I'm going to repeat that, 2 half double crochets, and then 1 half double crochet. Alright, now I'm going to go back to single crochets. So I'm going to do 2 single crochets, and then 1 single crochet in the next. And now I'm going to go back to half double crochets. So 2 half double crochets, and then 1 half double crochet, 2 half double crochets in the last set, and 1 half double crochet here, and then we slip stitch into the top of our first single crochet, and it's starting to become a little bit of an oval. This is a very subtle oval, but it's perfect for this. What I do is I do single crochets in the first set, half doubles in the next 2 sets, single crochets, half doubles, all the way around. So if I say I'll meet you at the end, just know that's what you're going to be doing. As I do with my circles, I change where my increase is going to be. It just makes it a little easier. So in this first one, I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to do a single crochet in the first stitch, a single crochet in the second stitch, and I'm going to do 2 single crochets in the last stitch of this set. Okay, now I'm moving on to half double crochets. So I'm going to do 1 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 half double crochets in the next. Then I'm going to repeat that, 1 half double crochet in this stitch, 1 half double crochet in this stitch, and 2 half double crochets in the last. And now I'm going to repeat the whole thing by going back to my single crochet. 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 single crochets in this last one. And now I'm going to do 2 sets of half double crochets with 1, 1, and 2. One, and 2. And then I'm going to slip stitch in the top of my first one there, and that is our second round. I like to just kind of tug it because it likes to curl up a little bit at the beginning, but I promise it will be perfect and fine in the end. And now you can see it's a lot more ovally. Hand turkey, you know, technically it's not super ovally, but this is perfect to me. If you wanted to do a little sized one, this would be a great place to stop and turn it into a little like baby sized hand. But I'm going to do another round. So we're going to chain 1. So I'm going to put my increases right there in that same stitch. So 2 stitches in that first stitch. And this time we're going to do 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're moving to half double crochets. 1 half double crochet here, and the second one in that same stitch. Now we're going to do 3 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to repeat that. 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, or next stitch I should say. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going back to single crochets. So 2 single crochets here, and one in each of the next 3. 1, 2, 3, half double crochets, 1 and 2 in this stitch, 1, 2, 3, and the last section, half double crochet increase, 1, 2, and then 3 more, 1, 2, 3, and stitch in the top of your single crochet. Okay, now is that a good size hand turkey space? Like if I wanted to make it a puppet, would that be a good puppet size, or do I want to go one more? That is the question here. I really think I want to go one more, so I'm going to do chain 1, and I'm going to single crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to do 2 single crochets in my last stitch here. That's where I'm going to put my increase in the end, and I'm going to do a half double crochet in the next 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, then it increase 2 stitches in the next one. Then I'm going to repeat that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 stitches. And now we go back to single crochets. 1, 2, 3, oops, 3, 4, 2 stitches in the last one, a half double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 1, 2, and then 1, this is our last set, 2, 3, 4, 2 stitches in the end, and we're going to okay, and this is how big I want my hand turkey palm to be. You could choose to make it bigger. You would just add 5 single crochets between, and 5 half double crochets between each of your increases. If I were to increase it, I would do my single crochet right here at the beginning, and then I'd do 5, and I'd do a half double crochet increase, and then 5. So that's how I would do it. I'm going to now work over to where I'm going to put in my turkey head. So I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to do my increase here just to help keep my circle kind of flatter, and then I'm going to single crochet in the next 4. And now I'm going to do, as if I'm going to do a half double crochet, I'm going to go in, but I'm going to actually, instead of going through, I'm going to start it into the, sorry about the coughing in the background, I'm going to go into a foundational row. So I'm going to pull it just through that bottom loop, and then I'm going to put my thumb to kind of hold that, because it will help hold it open for when the next step that needs that. So then I'm going to pull it through just like I was finishing off my half double crochet. Now I'm going to do my wrap over again, and this time I'm going to come back in and I'm going to stick it in that chain right there, and I'm going to pull it up through, and then I'm going to chain one with my just my bottom part. I'm going to hold that, and then I'm going to finish my half double crochet. And now holding that helps it so that you can see, or this doesn't get like lost or tightened up into the stitch. So I'm going to do another half double crochet, and I'm going to go down again into that chain that we held, pull up just the one, chain with just that bottom stitch, hold that so it doesn't get lost, finish my half double crochet. I'm going to start my half double crochet again. I'm going to come down into this bottom chain. I'm going to pull up my one. I'm going to chain one while leaving these stairs there, hold that so it doesn't get lost, and pull up my half double crochet. It does get faster as you get more familiar with it. And you gotta decide, how big do you want your thumb? Or your turkey thumb? Just a little bit bigger. Okay. Hold that. Now one thing to consider is that I am going to, basically you're kind of, if you hold it like that, that's probably about as we go around, because we're going to go around and come back down the other side. So it's going to be a little bit taller than what it is right now, but that's probably about how tall it will be. So is that how tall I want my thumb turkey to be? I think I want to go another half double crochet, stick it in the bottom one, pull it up through, chain one, hold that, pull it through, and this is where I'm going to end my length here. So I'm going to do a half double crochet. I'm going to go in that same spot. This time I'm just going to do a full half double crochet, and I'm going to do another half double crochet in that same spot. And see, now that's how far it's going to be. I'm going to come down, I'm going to do a half double crochet, and I'm going to come into the next spot here and do a half double crochet, working my way back down the edge, the other edge of this little thumb. Okay, and I've got one more here. And now I'm going to come over in here, and I'm going to single crochet into that one, and I'm going to now consider, that's my little thumb. Now I'm going to, so I just did my one single crochet back in here and to get us back in connected, and I'm going to do an increase. And then I'm going to single crochet 5. This time I'm not doing any half double crochets around. And then I'm going to do an increase. And then I'm going to do 5 again. Okay. And then I'm going to do another increase. And I'm going to do 5. And then do an increase. Do that stitch and do 5. And then an increase. And then I'm going to do 4. I think it is 1, 2, 3, 4. And the reason you do 4 is because actually over here, there was an extra stitch in here, and so it still brings you around. One of your stitches got taken up right there. Okay, and then that last one, because it was single crochets instead of half double crochets, it will help, it will kind of curve this in a little bit. That's okay because we're going to just stuff it. And even if it was a hand, you know, if you wanted to do it as an applique, it still kind of stretches flat. So it's still would work. And if you wanted to puppet, it would just be a little bit of a chubby puppet, but it would still work. And then I'm going to end this off. And I'm just going to end it long enough to tie in my ends. And before I tie in my ends, I do want to talk about when we do the second one. When you do the second one, unfortunately, you can't just do a second one and then think that you're going to, here's this one, and stick them together, because this is going to be in the wrong place. Unless you want your back of your turkey to look like this, and then you can do exactly the same thing. And one side of your turkey would look like this, and the other side of your turkey would look like that. And that's okay too. That's the only way that you would get them exactly matched with each other, I think. But what I'm going to do is make another palm, and I'm going to do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds, and then I'm going to do my single crochets around, but I'm going to line these up so that I know where to put my thing. Okay, so I just found myself a needle so I can hurry and tie these in. I pull in, and because this is a magic loop, some people don't find that they need to tie it off. I always feel like I have to do a couple stitches or it starts to come loose. And so the most important thing is that I am catching threads so that I'm not undoing it, making sure that there's something between this coming out and where I go in. And I'm just going to do a couple of those. And I'm not going to cut this off just because I'm going to have it tucked in my, definitely prefer metal needles. I'm going to have it tucked in my, with the stuffing, so I don't need to take that off. Okay, so when I do my thing, it'll just be tucked right in there. And then I'm just going to tie this one off as well. And then my other turkey, I will leave a long tail to sew them together. I'm just going to come down. I like to come down a little bit to where I can go under. Pull that half out, so I can go under where the legs are of the stitch. And then I'm also just going to leave that so that it will hang down inside. I don't feel like it needs to be like go back and forth a billion times because it's just going to be in the inside. It won't get the strain or anything like that. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to do the next one and I will meet you back. So I have gone 6. This little edge around here would make it the same size. So I want to turn this over so they would be back to back. So I'm going to work my round away around until I get over to here. So I'm going to chain 1 and then do an increase right there in that first stitch. So 2 stitches there, and then 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then just like around this outside edge, I'm just going to do single crochets. So 2 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 single crochets. And then 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to check. Yep, I still have quite a ways to go, so I'm going to do another set and see where I'm at. 1, 2 in the first stitch, and then 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm going to hold these together for a second just to get an idea. I'm going to do 3 or 4 of my things. So I'm going to do my increase. And then I'm going to try 3 and see how close I am. Of course, you'll know when you follow my video, like, oh, she did this. I probably need to do that. Truthfully, I'm figuring this out as I go. I think if I do finish my whole set, about where I need that to be, but I'm wondering if I can put my increase first. Depending on how I line it up, I totally can. Okay, so I'm going to put an increase next, and that way I know that that increase is taken care of, and I don't have to worry about any more increases. Now I'm going to go as if to do a half double crochet, and instead of finishing the half double crochet, I'm going to chain right there. I'm going to hold that, and then I'm going to do my half double crochet. I'm going to do a half double crochet and come in here. Make sure I get through both of them. Pull it up through, and then chain with just that bottom loop. Hold that, half double crochet. Do that again. Just do that chain. Hold that, half double crochet. I'm going to stop for a second. I want to count these. Did 3. That was 4. That was 5. That was 6, and I'm going to do one more. And this is my one I'm going to do my extra stitches in. Okay, hold that, do 1 in there, then come back in and go in that spot again, and do 2, and then in that same spot, and do 3. Now we've turned the edge, we're going to work down this side. So I'm going to come into the next stitch and do a half double crochet, and the next stitch do a half double crochet, the next stitch do a half double crochet, the next stitch do a half double crochet, and the next stitch do a half double crochet, and the next stitch do a half double crochet. That should be my last stitch. And then I'm going to single crochet into my next stitch around the body, and then I'm going to single crochet the last few here, which looks like there was 4, and then I'm going to hook in the top here. And now before I finish, I'm going to make sure that they match. And see, now when I do them up together, they will look right. Okay, after I slip stitch at the top, I'm going to do one more chain so I can bind up. This time I'm going to leave myself quite a bit of yarn to sew around the edges. And I'm going to pull it through. So I want to make sure that I do the stuffing of my little turkey bit here before I, that was weird. I want to do the stuffing of this section before I continue around. The other thing to think about, do you want to have your turkey feathers to be stuffed as well, or do you just want them to be little dangly feathers. Because if you want them stuffed, then you might want to attach them before you stuff things and stuff them as you go. Or what you might want to do is stuff them and then attach them. I'm going to hold these together. I've got my yarn coming out of the back one so that I'm working towards this way. And I want to kind of line up. My stitches are lined up right here so that I'm coming in the stitches that would be aligned over here. So I'm going to come in over here and just go through. I don't know if that's exactly lined up. Oh, I forgot to do something. I'm going to do a couple. I'm going to get to over to the head and then I'm going to come back and do it. Again, I'm just trying to kind of make sure my stitches line up before I go in them. That will make it easier around here. Take a break here and do the thing I forgot to do. Huh? Okay. I need my needle for this. I forgot to tie off this. I forgot to tie off my magic loop on my second turkey. Working up my neck here. I apologize. My 13-year-old is whistling in the background. I'm pretty sure that's showing up on the microphone. Back down the other side of his neck. Camera. And I'm going to go a few stitches over and then we're going to stop and talk for a second. Got around the edge of his bot or his head. I'm all the way down around his head. And then we'll talk. Okay. So if you didn't want to bother with stuffing his head, you could, or his, I guess it's a head, it's a neck, whatever. You could just leave it like that. Oh my gosh, guys, I just saw that everything was so messed up. I'm so sorry. So I stuffed the, I had little bits of stuffing that I stuffed in his head or his neck. I had worked till about here with doing my needle around, and I stuffed that part, and then I went all the way to here. I talked about how down here at the bottom you could stop your going around if you wanted to make a puppet and send your yarn underneath in the inside of one of the sides and then come out a little ways, so you left an opening, and then go all the way around. If you're stuffing it, I went all the way to here. Well, my end is right here, so I went to about here. I left about that much, and then I just stuffed it as much as stuffing as I needed to get it to where I wanted it to be, and then I finished sewing it up. I talked about bars that I find underneath. I'll kind of show you over here. Sometimes, like, you have this stuff, this is the top stuff. Underneath is when I find a bar like that. Sometimes you can find them down between stitches too. And that's where I did my just one knot. So I went underneath. Let me put my spare yarn here. So I took it underneath one of these, and let's pretend it was coming out. So then I put my finger to hold it so the loop wouldn't go all the way underneath. And then I just went under the one loop. And then I pulled that tight. I'm not pulling it tight now, but then I sent it underneath somewhere, pulled it out somewhere over, and then I'm not going to pull this tight, but you'd normally pull this tight enough to pull this down, but not to stretch it down. And then I can either go over another loop, or I can just stick it back in and go across and come out somewhere else. And then what you would do is you tuck just a little bit, snip it, and then it pops back in. I cannot believe I did that. I'm so sorry. Let me take this back out. But that's what it's looking like so far. It looks kind of funny, but it's gonna look cute. But next we're gonna do our turkey feathers, our colored feathers. So pick your colors and let's get going. Hey guys, we're gonna make feathers. And I already made one and attached it, and I want to talk about how if you look at a hand, this finger and this finger are pretty close to the same size. So we're going to make two feathers that are the same size. This one's going to be a little bit longer. This one's not going to be quite as significantly distant in length, but it is going to be shorter. Before we get started, let me show you the difference between these two feathers. That I just discovered this. My mind is kind of blown, like, why have I never done this before? Why have I never been taught this? On this one here, I worked up, I'm going to do a little bit of a chain just for demonstration purposes. I worked in to the loops on the that make the V. So the front loops of the chains going one direction up the thing. I did my little circle at the top, which I'm not going to do. I'm just going to show you what I did on the other side, and then I'll explain some things. So then I come and I'm working in the back loop, or not the back loop, sorry, the other front loop going back down the other side. This is what I've always done. This is pretty much how I was taught to crochet. And so working on the other half of the V at this side. Okay. Then that's this one. This is how it looks. It's actually got significant amount of holes in it where the two attach. I did the other one. So in this one I chose to go in the back loops down. And so I go up the chain one direction in the back loops. I will get to my little thing and do, well, I'm not going to worry about it too much, but then then I go down in through the front loops, going back down the other side. Which means I go under both V's, going down the other way. Okay. This is how the feather turned out from that. Like, if I pull really hard, I can find some holes. Mostly my hole is where I went from single crochet to a half double crochet and kind of had to change. But like even at that, this one's a little bit wider, but for the most part, this one's denser in the middle. So like if I were to stuff this, it would have an easier time stuffing. So you can choose to do your feathers either way. I already did this one this way. So we're going to chain 11 for the tall feather. Okay. And now you're going to do a back loop, you're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. And you're going to do 4 more single crochets for a total of 5. And now we're going to do 4 half double crochets. Okay, so now we need to put 4 half double crochets into this stitch. So I'm going to work 2 of them into the back loop. And then I'm going to pull my thread out of the way, my tail out of the way, and I'm going to work 2 into the front loop. Okay, and now I'm going to pull my tail over so I can work over it. And I'm going to do 4 half double crochets in the next stitches. 1 in each one. And we're now working in the V stitch, or the V side of it, going under both of those loops. Okay, and then I'm going to do 5 single crochets. You have a choice when you're doing it together. I'm just going to show you. You can cut off a bunch and then sew them together. You need 2. So one of them you can cut the tail short and then weave it back up in. This was my first tail. And I can cut this tail as well. So this one I'm going to weave back up in, and then I can sew these together. What I'm going to do is also show you another way. So I can chain 1, and then I'm going to hold it this way so that I'm looking at the back of my work. I'm going to pull this one over where I put the front of the work together, and then I'm going to go in the first stitch of this one and in the first stitch of the back one, and I'm going to single crochet it together. This is one way that you could get your feathers together. Now the thing about this is it will add extra width because it's already added that much width to the side over here. Another way to do it, I still have my chain because I think it's just a little easier. I'm going to go in both, but this time I'm going to slip stitch. Oops. So from my thread, my yarn split, I don't know why I call it thread. I've worked with yarn for 40 years, but I still call it thread on my videos. Okay, slip stitch. And then I'm going to go through into the next stitch and the next stitch in the back. And I'm going to slip stitch. I'm going to go into them again. Once you get going, they kind of line up, so it's a little bit easier. So you can just kind of go through both at the same time, which is nice. And just going to keep slip stitching around. Okay, and so one side will have this little edge going around it and the other side will not. But then that way you can crochet around it and it doesn't get a lot thicker. It's pretty much the same. The other option that you can do is whip stitch around it. And I'm just going to finish this and go all the way around. Now, unlike the little head part, I did not put stuffing in this. It's just 2 layers together. Like I can kind of squish it if I want to, but it's just 2 layers flat together. If you wanted to put stuffing in it, you totally could. Now here's a funny little thing. I'm squinting at my work, but I have glasses on the top of my head. Does that even make sense to anybody? And tie it off, and then I have 2 ends to tie in, but I'm going to leave long enough so that I can sew it on. So that's with what one side looks like when you've slip stitched around it. That's what the other side looks like. I can tell this is the side that I did the back loops. I really actually like that much better. I think it's going to be way cute turkey feather. So I'm just going to slide this in. I'm going to make sure, this is my short one, but I'm going to make sure that I'm actually going through stitches. You can kind of feel if there's a little bit of resistance and you're going through stitches. And I'm just going to pull that up in and I'm going to cut that. Again, I kind of tug it a little bit, and then when I flatten it out, it pulls that little bit of end just right underneath. And then I'm going to put my longer one that I used at the very end. I'm going to decide which end I want. I don't know, I guess because I'm right-handed, I think of hand turkeys with the thumb being to this side. So I think of this as the front of it. This is the back. So I want to decide which side of the feather I like better, and then put that one next to it. So I'm going to start at this end over here of my thing. So kind of decide where it needs to go through. And I'm going to go in under, and I like to try to get underneath so that when like over here on this one, I don't know how well you can see that. I didn't get that one stitch hid very well. The rest all kind of ended up underneath things, so when I pulled it tight you can't see it, and that's what I want. And so I'm kind of trying to go in underneath where it kind of wraps around the skinny part, because then it will hide easier. And I'm just going to go in in the bottom and see when I pull that it's harder to see. So now again I'm going to go in and try to go so that it's between the stitches, and it's in a skinnier part of it. Go in the bottom, and I usually do about 4 across. And do the skinny part. Go through the top or on here. One more. I like to tug it tight as I'm going. This one I'm going to kind of go in but come out close to my red one, burgundy, Bordeaux, I believe it's called in some places. I'm gonna go whip in and I'm gonna pull that tight. Okay. And then I'm going to, I want to tie a tiny knot. So I'm just gonna tie it down here at the bottom. And it doesn't have to be a big knot. Like, I'm just gonna wrap that around my needle. Pull my yarn through. I'm gonna pull it a little tighter so that the knot's not very big. And then I'm gonna just go up through, making sure going in, just like before, we wanna be catching yarn. So I wanna feel like there's resistance, because if there's resistance, then I know I'm going up through threads. If it's going in smoothly, then it's not catching anything. And I'm gonna cut it, pull a little bit tight so that the end pops down in there. And now I've got two. So this one here, I whip stitched around so you can see that it doesn't have as much of a decorative edge as this one does. So it will look a little different if you whip stitch it, and that's okay. I have another red yarn, and this yarn is actually a different color than this. Right, so we're making the one that you would make 2, and this time we are going to chain 9. Okay, when you've got 9 chains, I'm going to show you how to do it, the whole feather, with chaining in one side or the other, just so that you guys have an example of that. So I'm going to single crochet in the first hook, first chain, second chain from the hook. Holy cow. I'm going to single crochet in second chain from the hook and in 3 more. So we have a total of 4 single crochets. And then I'm going to do 3 half double crochets. Okay, and then in our last chain, we're going to put in 4 half double crochets. I'm going to put 2 on this side of the knot. And then I'm going to come over, and I like to move it over to put 2 on the other side of the knot. I don't know if other people do that or if it's just my personal preference. And now I'm going to work over my yarn again. I'm going to do 3 half double crochets, working again in that other side of the, right in under that comes up from over here. And then half double crochet, or single crochets, 4 single crochets. And then I'm going to end it off. I'm going to make this one kind of short. And I can cut, I'm going to cut this one before I pull the other one out so I don't mistake it for the other one. And then I'm going to pull this through. And that's my first half. And as you can see, it's got a lot of holes. You're going to make another one, whichever way you want to do it, and I will meet you when I get back. And I will show you how to whip stitch this one. Might as well. My little turkey's going to have unique feathers, and that's okay. I've got my second one made, and again, I went in the back loops. It makes it actually a little bit shorter, which is why I'm going to trim off my short end. I'll explain that in a minute. I'm going to leave a little bit longer, and oh shoot, I needed a lot longer than that. Shoot. That's not going to work all the way around. Okay, we'll do our best. It ends up shorter. I think it's because it's tighter through here. But I'm going to make my pinky one both have this and see what the difference is. What you're supposed to do is leave a long enough tail so that it goes all the way around. I don't know if I'm going to have enough yarn to get all the way around. I may have to make another one. Okay, just like before, I'm going to put my back one here, and I'm going to put this one over here. That way I'm working in a way that's more comfortable for me. So I'm going to go in the front, and then I'm going to go in the top of that first single crochet and the first single crochet in the back. And I'm going to go in the next one and the next one, and I'm going to do that all the way around, hopefully, and hopefully have enough to attach it. If your yarn starts to spin up, you can let go of the needle and let it float down like that. Unless your needle eye is really big, it should stay. This was my last one. Should have tucked that bucket in before I did this. I'm going to take and do that really quickly. I lucked out. I have enough, but it's going to be kind of tight once I go around the few things. And I don't like feeling nervous about it. So before I tucked it in here and went towards the other, I'm going to actually do it the other way so that you guys can see that. So I'm going to stick it as close as I can to where that yellow turkey feather is. And then I'm going to go up through, and then I'm going to go into the bottom up here. I like to actually go in about where it came out for that first one and pull it tight, and then have my, just like I did before, go under the loose ones, and then go under with the curve going after that. If that makes sense. Don't know if that makes sense. But again, I'm going to go across on 4 stitches down into the turkey. This is 4. And then I'm going to end by coming up into the thing. If you want to do extras, especially here on the end, you can. Oh, it just came off my needle. Like where this is kind of like this, I think I'm actually going to do another one because I really would rather it be tacked down over there. So I'm going to do another one to pull that down so that that ends closer down there. Then I'm going to find somewhere to make a knot. I want my knot way close down at the bottom. I like to stick my needle into my loop so that my loop doesn't get lost, and so I can pull it down as tight as I can before I get the yarn going in. I feel like that makes a smaller knot sometimes. Otherwise you're playing the game of, does the knot want to go where it want it to go? Go up underneath, pull a little snug, ta-da. So that one, I like this one better. Not just the color. Well, the color makes it easier to see, but I like the slit stitch around better than the whip stitch around. Let's make one more turkey feather. For my last turkey feather, I have a green. Now this is the pinky feather. I'm going to chain 7. So for the big one, I chained 11. For the 2 medium ones, I chained 9, and this one I'm going to chain 7. Okay, slip stitch in the first or second chain from the hook, slip stitch, single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and 2 more for a total of 3. So for the big ones, we had a total of 5 single crochets at the beginning and end, and for the medium we had 4, and now we're going to have 3. And now I'm going to half double crochet in the next 2. And again, it was 2, 3, and 4, depending on your sizes. And then for the last one, again, we're going to do 4 half double crochets. And again, I like to do 2 on one side of the knot and 1 on the other side of the knot. 1, 2, and on the other side of the knot, 1, 2, and then I'm going to do 2 more half double crochets going down the side, again working over my yarn and going through the other half of the single or chain stitch, going under both of those, and then 3 single crochets. Okay, I'm gonna cut this one. I'm gonna cut that one. Doesn't need to be very long because I'm just gonna send it up through. And I think this time I'll remember to send it up through now. And I'm gonna make one more and I will meet you after the other one. Isn't that cute? It's so tiny. I did want to show you one thing. I'm working on my 3rd stitch, which is the first one over on the other side. I'm going to pull that out of my way and I'm going to go over it. One thing you can do is you could start working over your thread or yarn that tail that quickly, and you do your last stitch over that and then move on down, and it's already working over it. Again, I'm going to cut here. This time I did both of them with back loop crocheting. So I have 2 little things that are the same size. Oops, it stuck to me. I'm going to do the slip stitch method. So I like to chain 1, put my one this way, pull my front side so that their front sides are both on the outside. Go in awkward, small enough that it's spinning around. Go in through the front loops on, or go through the loops on this one, go through the loops on the back one. So you should have 2 V's on top of your thing. Go all the way through everything because we're doing a slip stitch. I like to tug that one, first one, a little bit more. Go through the front and the back, pull all the way through, and do that all the way around. And I like the idea that there are different ways of doing things. It changes the look just a little bit, and you can decide which version you like. Do you like it with the back loop single crochets to begin with, or do you like it going through one loop and the other loop? Do you like it with the maybe a mixture of them, like I have some of mine do, where the one is one and one is the other? Do you like it, do you want fatter things so that you use single crochet all the way around? Do you like it slip stitched around? Do you like it with this with the whip stitch around? Like, I like that you can change the look just a little bit just by simple changes like that. And I like giving you guys options. Okay, 2 more here. Okay, I'm gonna pull that through. I'm gonna leave myself a little bit of a tail for sewing it on. And I'm going to choose which side I want it to be on. Choose which side I want it to be on. And then I'm gonna sew it. And one thing I didn't point out is I'm really going right along that edge that I whip stitched together earlier. Back in up here over by the knot. Pull it tight. Now start going underneath all the way across. Oh, see that one? There, I came down over here too far, so I'm actually going to take that one out. I'm going to come back here and again make myself a little knot. doesn't have to be a super secure knot. It will stay on. I just like it to be tight a little bit, and then send it up in through my, I want to call it a finger, but it's a feather. Trim it, and oh my gosh, isn't that so cute? Next step, we are going to make our little feather here. We are going to give it some legs because every hen turkey has to have some legs. And we'll figure out what we're doing for its little face. But aren't those feathers just so stinking adorable? So the whip stitch makes it a little easier to kind of make them look more like fingers and skinny. Like if you stuffed them, they would look like fingers. And the slip stitch actually makes them lay a little flatter. So that could be also another thing to help you to decide whether you wanted to use the whip stitch or the slip stitch. Because if you use the slip stitch, it's going to help it just lay a little flatter. Whip stitch, you can make it look more like fingers. And of course, if you stuffed either one of them, it would change how they looked. Next step that we're going to do is make some wings. You can make 1 or 2 wings, totally up to you. Leave a little bit longer end because you need it to sew it on. And you're going to chain 4. We're going to single crochet in the back loops, this second chain from the hook and across, so you'll have 3 single crochets. Turn your work, chain 1. You're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch, so you end up with 6 at the end. Okay, turn your work, chain 1, and we're going to do a half double crochet. And I know a lot of times you do 2 for a half double crochet, but we're just going to do 1 chain there. And you're going to do 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. 1 half double crochet in the next. 1 half double crochet in the next. 2 half double crochets. And 1 half double crochet in the end. So you should have 8. So again, it's 1, then 2, then 1, 1, 2, 1. Okay, turn your work. And now you're going to chain 1, and this time we're going to do 2 half double crochets in that first stitch. You're going to just slip stitch in the next stitch. You're going to do 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. Slip stitch in the next stitch. 2 half double crochets. Slip stitch in the next. 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. And slip stitch to the end there. Oops. Don't split your yarn, it does weird things. Try that again. Okay, and then you're going to tie that off, pull it through, and we're going to thread that through. Okay. I'm just going to send it in somewhere. It doesn't really matter as long as it's just tied in somewhere. Got that. And okay. I like this side. I like the way that this edge looks. If you like this side, that's cool. You can choose which side you use to show on your turkey. So I like this side. So I'm going to put it on here. And you just kind of pick where you want to put it. And you're just going to sew it on. Oops. So I'm going across this bottom chain area. Just catching some of that down underneath, getting it up on, going through those chains at the bottom. And then I like to also tack this edge down, but if you get to here and you like it just being a feather that's just all separated there, that wing, no, feather, wing, if you like it just like that, you can leave it, but like I said, I like to keep going and attach this side edge over here. And I go to where I kind of like, do I like that? I think I want to do one more here. To tack it right there. Okay, and then I'm going to, once again, this time I want to kind of bring my knot towards the back part here. Again, because I just like the way that my knots go when I do that. I feel like I have much better control of a knot when I pull it like that. And then tuck it in somewhere. I tend to like to make it go in twice. I don't know. I guess I feel better when it's got extra tucked in over there. Okay, so there he's got a little feather. I already put one on this side. So if I look at it this way, I can see that I did not do a very good job matching them, but that's okay because it looks cute from this side. It looks cute from this side. Not too many people are going to be like, oh my gosh, your feathers are way off from each other. So let's do his legs. I'm really excited about them. Leave a little bit of a tail. Doesn't have to be too long, but a little bit of a tail. And we're going to chain 7. And now we're going to do slip stitches back. So we're going to go in that first stitch, or that second chain from the hook, into the back loop, just like we're going to do single crochet, but we're going to come all the way through. And we're going to do a second one. Okay, and now we're going to chain 3. And now we're going to again go in our back loops and do slip stitches in 2 of those chains back. Okay, chain 3. We're going to slip stitch again back on ourselves into that second chain from the hook. 1 and 2, and now we are going to slip stitch right back in here, and then we're going to slip stitch all the way back up to the knot for that from that first chain bit. Okay, tie it off, snip it, and we have ourselves this little cross-like thing. I have my original, so we have 2 of them, and we're gonna sew those on. Aren't those stinking cute? I just think they're so cute. Okay. I'm gonna take one of these. So I'm gonna pick about where I want my foot to be. I'm gonna go through, and then I'm going to bring it back down through the leg. And this isn't necessarily about holding that foot on there. The other one's going to be more about that. And I want to do a second, go back up through, kind of catching something and go back up. Part of why I want to do that is because I just imagine my grandkids pulling on this and pulling that thread out. So I wanted it to have a second little bit. Okay, now with my next thread, I'm going to really just make sure that this little foot's attached. So I'm gonna come in here and grab a spot, and I'm gonna go in the foot, and I'm actually gonna go back in, since it's so small, I'm gonna go in a couple of times through there, and then I'm gonna come up over on the other side and go through on the foot. And then go back down in through the yarn again, in through the body, and again, just to get it a couple of things. And then I'm going to pick some place. I'm going to tie a knot again. I don't always tie knots on things, but I feel like if it's a stuffy that my grandkids would play with, then tying this knot is going to be helpful. To help it stay put a lot easier than just threading it up and down. And I'm just going to send this one up into the body. I've already got plenty of yarn going down through the leg. Kind of tug, pull it, and there's one foot attached. Oh my gosh. That's so cute. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to go and take this one in. And since I put that one on where like they kind of look different, like the stitching looks a little different depending on which side. And since I put it in going that way, I want this one to go the same way. Maybe it doesn't matter to you, but it is to me. And there he has got 2 adorable little feet. He just makes me so happy. Well, I've got my feet / beak color. Let's make a beak. Let's again leave a little bit of a length. Doesn't have to be too long, but you want a little bit of a length. We're going to chain 5. Okay, we're going to slip stitch into this first, or into the second chain from the hook. We're going to slip stitch. Now we're going to single crochet in the next one. And then we're going to half double crochet in the next 2. Last one's always hard because it's got the knot, but I can do it. Okay, we're going to use a little bit longer string on one of these sides, And because that is kind of turned there, you can kind of point it if you want to, make it a little sharper beak. For the beak, I'm just gonna not worry about doing like I did with the feet. And I'm just going to see if I can send this back down in. And now we're going to use this one to attach it. And kind of like what I did with the feet, I want to go in a couple of times just because there's only a couple places. So I'm going to pick where I want his beak to be. I'm going to go through there. And I'm going to go in a couple times in the same place. And then I'm going to go over down a little bit and go a couple times at the other end of his beak. I have a little weird split thingy going on right there. Like a weird fuzzy attached to my beak. That was rude of it. Don't be attached to my beak. And again, I like to tie a little knot somewhere in here. And then I'm going to take the inside and down through into his body. Pull a little taut, it pops back out. Here's what his beak looks on this side. Here's what his beak looks like on that side. He's getting there. Next up, we need a gobbler. So I'm going to use my red, and I'm going to leave a lot of a tail so I can tie it in. But like the other one, it's going to just have a tiny bit to attach. So I'm going to chain 6, and then I'm going to actually half double crochet in second chain from the hook. And then I'm going to do another half double crochet in the same stitch. And then I'm going to do a half double crochet in the same stitch. I'm working in the back loops. And then I'm going to do a single crochet in that same stitch. And then I'm going to do a single crochet. A single crochet in the next stitch, just one in each of these next two. And then I'm going to slip stitch in my last stitch. And then I'm going to tie it off. And there is my little gobbler. And I take my shorter one to go down through. And then I'm going to take my other one and we're going to attach it to the turkey. So I'm going to make sure that when I attach it, it curls the way I want it to, because it kind of has the curve. I'm going to attach it so it curves down. I'm going to attach it right here by the beak. Just like our feet and beak, I'm going to do a couple times in the same place. And at the bottom here. I'm gonna do one more. Okay, I'm gonna tie my tiny little knot, as small as I can make it. And stick that yarn down inside, just like before, coming out somewhere over here. Again, it's going through the stuffing, so sometimes it takes a minute to get it to go work around that stuffing from inside. Just a little bit snug, trim close. So when you kind of pull things up, it pops back in. That is his gobbler. That's what he looks like on that side. That's what he looks like on that side. The last thing I need is my black yarn. You don't need very much black yarn, foot or two. If you only want to have an eye on one side, you can just put it on one side. You could do one eye on one side and one on the other. So I'm gonna pull it out a little bit. I like to leave just a tiny bit out that I will catch afterwards. It just makes it easier for me to kind of hold on to it. And then I'm going to actually start with going around the thing, and I might go through and make myself a knot. That way I know it's attached. And then I can come and kind of tug this a little bit, and then it will pop up in. And now I can make his eye. Because of the stuffing, you can't really go through to the other side. I mean, maybe if you had a thing. So I'm going to do one eye on one side and then do the other eye on the other side. So I'm going to come up above my knot, come down and pick a spot, and try to make my spots that go in and out about the same spot a few times over. Okay, I'm going to come down over here. I'm going to come to, like, it's still the same spot, but I want to try to get to the other side of the bulk of that, just to help me get a little bit of shaping here. Okay, now I'm going to take this and find my way over to the other side of his head. Oh, isn't that cute? Straighten out his beak. From over here, I'm going to pick a couple spots and do the same thing. Give him an eye on this side. Can't wait to show my daughter. Oh, she'll be so excited. She'll think he's so cute. Okay. And when you get it to how you want it, and you know, the eyes don't really have to look the same. Even, I don't know if you can see this. Let me hold down this so you can kind of see. One side's a little higher than the other, but even if I looked at him front on, that just kind of gives him a, like a charm. Okay, and then I'm going to go up. I'm going to come down a little ways. And I'm not going to worry about, well, yeah. Okay, I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to kind of carefully, very close as I can to the edge there, get myself another little knot at the top there, then go in and down his neck. And remember, if you can see it shining, or the needle showing, then it's gonna show your black yarn, and this one definitely like matters. Okay, so I'm gonna pull that down in. I'm going to snip it off, and we are just going to enjoy this little cute guy. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. Okay. If I would have pulled, I needed to pull that a little bit more to get his knot to pop in, but that's okay. Still super cute. Still so cute. So there you go. You got yourself a little hand turkey. A hand turkey. Like I said, remember to have a happy Thanksgiving. And isn't he so cute? Please, if you make one, you can and put it like on Facebook or Instagram. Be sure to tag me. Instagram's pretty easy. It's at SoMagicalMichele. And I don't know how to tag me on Facebook, because you're lucky if you can find me. I haven't figured out how to do that yet. But I would love to see it. If you make him, please send me a picture. Like, email me a picture. That'd be really cool. In fact, if you guys do make it and email me a picture, I can show people on the channel. I can do a little compilation of what you guys make. That would be really fun. In fact, if you want to share anything with me, you can email me anything that you're making, and I would love to do it. I think it's really fun. I know that there's a couple other channels that do show different projects that people have made. So if you have any projects you want to share with me, that would be really fun. We could do, if you get them to me right away, I can show them on Thanksgiving, all the different Thanksgiving things you've made, and you can start sending me Christmas projects that you've made, and I will do a Christmas compilation. That would be super fun. Anything I've ever made, any of the tutorials, if you've made them, please send me pictures. I really want to see, or tag me on Instagram, either way. So anyway, remember to let your light shine through your creations, and I will see you guys next time.